So welcome to Alma. So today we'll discuss the concept of an shear shutter in an sections any type of sections we are going to. So first we will see what is the concept of our shear center. So shear center, so it is a point through which opposite shear forces produces no torsion or twist of the members. So it is nothing but where the opposite shear force produces no torsion or twist of the members. If any member, if the twisting or torsion is not going to occur in that section, that concept is known as shear center. So now we will see, so first we will see what is a shear force. So shear force is nothing but the forces which is applied parallel to the section. Nothing but if you are going to take this as a section, so here the forces I am going to apply parallelly to the section. So this is of rectangular section. If you see the C section, here the forces are going to apply in an parallel way, but they are going to follow some flow path here. So they are not going to misplace in any direction, they are going to follow some flow path here. So if they are going to follow this flow path, that is known as shear forces. So with respect to these shear forces which are developing in these sections, these shear forces will create some unbalancing forces. So by these unbalancing forces, additionally next we are going to apply some another load at the section. If you are going to apply with this unbalancing moments and this load condition, then the section is going to get some twisting like this, or it is going to rotate its axis like this, the section is going to come up. So now what is of shear center concept is nothing but, so with the help of these shear forces, some unbalancing moment are going to develop, and when we go to apply the load, it is going to get twisting of our section. So what is of shear center? So some axis of symmetric is going to takes place. So on the axis of this symmetry, nothing but a point at which is present inside or outside of our section. So somewhere on this axis of symmetry, some point is located. On that point, if you are going to apply the load, it is going to balances the total condition of our section. Then with the help of this loading condition, the bending of our section or twisting of our section is not going to took up. That is known as concept of our shear center, or simply it can be defined as applied. It is a applied force balanced by a set of shear forces obtained by summing the shear stresses over the section. Nothing but shear. It is an applied force. It is an applied force balanced by a set of shear forces. So these are the some set of shear forces balanced by a set of shear forces obtained by summing the shear stresses over the section. So if you are going to sum this entire shear stresses, then it is going to balance. If it is going to get balance, then it is not going to get any twisting or bending of our section. So that is known as shear center concept. So on this we are going to have some applications. So that applications we will see now. So see the first application. If the load is not applied through the shear center, there will be twisting of the beam due to unbalanced moment caused by the shear forces acting on the section. If you are going to find out the shear center, then if you are not going to apply the load at the shear center, axis of symmetry shear center, then it is going to get unbalanced, then it is going to get twist. If you are going to apply the load on the shear center, then it will get balance and it won't get any twisting or bending of our section. And the second one is shear center is also known as center of twist. So it is also known as center of twist. And the next one is, in case beam having two axes of symmetry conditions, the shear center lies at the intersection and coincide with the centroid. So now we will see. So for this case, I will deal with some example. So see, this is an rectangular symmetrical section. So how we will define it is an symmetrical section? So here we are going to have x and y axis. If you are going to divide, it has divided into 4 parts. If you are going to see each part, every part is symmetrical to the each and every part. So both four parts are same, above the axis and below the axis. So then this is an symmetrical section. If you are going to consider this is a symmetrical section, so here we are going to have the two axes, x and y are the two axes, and this is an centroidal point. So at this centroidal point the shear center is going to develop for this section. So similarly next application we will see. In case of section having one axis of symmetry, then shear center does not coincide with the centroid but lies on the axis of symmetry. So now we will see. So in case section having one axis of symmetry is nothing but, so if you see this C section, so here the section is going to have XX symmetrical portion, nothing but if you are going to see at this section, the above part and below part are having same property, nothing but same properties they are going to regulate. If I am going to get in y direction, this left portion is going to get in sheep pot and the right portion is going to have some two rectangular sections. So now it can be defined that this is symmetrical about x axis. Now if I am going to apply some shear center, so if you are going to see some shear center is going to lie on this section. So we don't know, some shear center will either it can be at the middle of the section, right of the section, or left of the section, that we don't know. It can lie anywhere on this axis of symmetry. If you are going to apply the load on this section, then it is going to balance and the twisting or bending of our section is not going to occur. So if it is of symmetrical section like this, the shear center is going to lie at the center of our CG. If it is of one axis symmetrical section, the shear center does not coincide in the centroidal axis but lies on the axis of symmetry. It won't goes in the centroidal axis but it lies on the axis of symmetry somewhere at point. And the last condition is, when the load passes through the shear center, there will be only bending in the cross section and no twisting. So if you are going to consider I section, if somewhere at the point of axis of symmetry, if you are going to find out the axis, shear center, and if you are going to apply the load there, so with the help of these balancing sections, it only acquires bending of our sections. It won't get any twisting of our section. So that is the concept of our shear center. So the concept of our shear center has completed. So now we will go with some example problem of springs. So that is the pending topic in second unit. So that I will clear today. See here some example problem, springs in series and parallel conditions. So if you see here, a composite spring has two closed coil springs connected in an series. One spring has 12 coils of mean diameter 25 mm, of wide diameter 2.5 mm he has given. So mean diameter he has given capital D and wide diameter he has given 2.5 mm. Find the wide diameter of the other spring if it has 15 coils of mean diameter 40 mm. So here D2 he has given, he has not given small d2. So small d2 we have to find out. The stiffness of the composite is 1.5 kN per meter he has given. Determine the greatest load that can be carry composite spring to the corresponding extension. So we have to determine the greatest load, which spring is going to carry out the greatest load we have to find out. And for this condition, the maximum stresses he has given 250 Mn per mm square and modulus of rigidity C has given 18 giganewton per mm square. So first we will go with the given data. So what is the given data has given? We will go. So he has given the data. So first we will go with the number of coils. So number of coils for the first spring is 12 number of coils he has given, and for the second spring he has given 15 coils he has given. And next he has given mean diameter of the first spring he has given, which having 12 coil numbers, nothing but D1 is equal to 25 mm he has given. If you are going to convert into meters, it will become 0.025 meters it will come. Similarly, next we will go with, or if you need to convert you can convert, or if not leave it. Similarly, next the wire diameter the wire diameter. So for the wire diameter for the same section he has given d1 he has given as 2.5 mm he has given. Similarly, next we will go with second one. The second mean diameter has given. So mean diameter of second section he has given as 40 mm he has given. So we know the we don't know the value of d2. We have to find out the value of d2. We have to find out. So you just take off this. We will discuss later. We don't know the value of d2. We have to find out the value of small d2. So total stiffness, the value of K he has given, that is 1.5 kilonewton per meter, nothing but 1500 Newton per meter. And maximum shear stresses are nothing but the value of tau he has given, that is 250 Mn per meter square he has given. Sorry, in problem I have written wrong ma. So it is of meter square, not of mm square. Meter square has given. If you are going to convert, it will come 250 into 10 to power of 6 Newton per meter square it will come. So now we have to find out the values of what is the greatest load it is going to carry. We have to find out. So the springs are in an series. In the problem he has given, the springs are in a series condition he has given. So for that, if the springs are in series, the formula is delta is equal to delta 1 plus delta 2. So we know where the value of K is equal to W by delta, delta is equal to W by K. So by substituting this, we will get W by K is equal to W by K1 plus W by K2, where it can be written as 1 by K is equal to W is common for everyone, 1 by K1 plus 1 by K2. So we know the equation for K stiffness K we have found it in the previous expression, that is CD power 4 of 64 R1 R cube into N it will come. So by substituting that we will get the required equation. So now we will find out the values of K1 and K2. If you go here, so K1 is equal to, so how much he has given? Now the value of K1 can be found out with the formula of C d1 power 4 by 64 R1 cube into N1. So here we know the value of C, that is 18 to 10 to the power of 9 into small d. We know small d he has given us 2.5 mm they have given. If you are going to convert into 2.5 mm they are given, if I am going to convert into meters, it will come 0.25 meters power 4 divided by 64 into R1. R1 is nothing but, so there the value of D1 they are given. If from this we will get the value of R1. Then R1 is equal to 0.0125 whole cube, nothing but D1 divided by 2, that we will get the R1. D1 divided by, we will get R1 into the number of coils N1 they have given 12. So if you are going to substitute this, the value of K1 you will get, that is 2083.33 Newton meters will get. Similarly, next we will find out the value of K2. K2 is equal to C2 d power 4 by 64 R2 cube into N2. So here we don't know the value of D2, that is equal to 18 to 10 power of 9 into D2 power 4 by 64 into the value of R2. Here D2 has given as 40 mm. If you are going to convert into meters, it will come 0.04 meters it will come. Then the value of R2 is 0.02 it will come. So 0.02 whole cube into N2 is 15. So by calculating this, we will get the values as 10.416 into 10 power of 12 D2 power 4 we will get. So now we have calculated the values of K1 and K2 we have calculated. So now just substitute the values in the formula. Then what is the formula? 1 by K is equal to 1 by K1 plus 1 by K2. We have found out the values of K1 and K2. K is given in the formula itself, that is 1.5 into 1.5 kilonewton per meter he has given. So substitute that 1 1 by 1.5 into 10 to the power of 3 is equal to 1 by 1 by 2083 into 33 plus 1 by 10.416 into 10 to the power of 12 d2 power 4. Then just transfer this to the other side, then it will come as 1 by 10.416 into 10 to the power of 12 d2 power 4 is equal to 1 by 1 by 1.5 into 10 to the power of 3 minus 1 by 2083.33. So by making this, we will get the value as 1 divided by 10.416 into 10 to the power of 12 d2 power 4 is equal to, by making this we will get the value as 1.866 into 10 to the power of minus 4 again. So from this we have to find the value of d2. So by calculating this, we will get the value of d2 as 0.0047 meters. We will get the value as d2 value as 0.0047 meters we are going to get. Now which spring is going to carry the greatest load we have to calculate. So by the values of d1, small d1 and small d2, so whichever the diameter is smaller, that will carry an greatest load. Now we are going to consider. If you see, the value of d1 is 0.025 meters it has came. 0.025 meters it has came. So if you see both the condition, the d1 value is very smaller. So the value of d1 will carry greater load, greatest load it can carries. So now we have to find out the value of w. We don't know the value of w. Now we have to find out. So now the greatest load that can be carried by the spring will be corresponding to the small diameter. Then from this, tau is equal to 16 WR by pi d cube. Here the value of maximum shear stresses that are given in the formula itself, in the question itself, that is 250 into 10 to the power of 6 into 16 into, we don't know the w value, that we have to find out, the radius r. So if the diameter, if d1 is 0.0025 meters, then what is the radius for this section? It is of first one diameter, first section diameter. So for this, the r1 will become 0.0125 meters. The value of r, it will come as 0. If it is the diameter is smaller for d2, then we have to consider the value of r2 here, 0.0125 divided by pi into the d is 0.0025 whole cube it will come. So by multiplying this all the condition, by calculating this, we will get the w value as 61.35 newtons. We will get the load, we are going to get w is equal to 61.35 newtons will get. Now how much the extension of spring is going to take place? Now we have nothing but the deflection when the loads are applying in an series, nothing but, if see here, if I are going to consider this is k1 and this is as k2, if the load I am going to apply here, some load, we don't know how much, if the w load I am going to apply here, which we have finite, how much of deflection it is going to take place, now we have to find out. So the total extension, that delta is equal to w by k, delta we have to find out. So we know the w, that is 61.35 divided by k is given in the formula 1.5 into 10 to the power of 3. If you are going to multiply, calculating, we are going to calculate, then we will get 0.0409 meters we will get. So this is the maximum extension that is going to get in a spring with the help of the loading condition and maximum shear stresses